Hey everybody, I just got home, so this is the first thing I'm doing. I mean, I'm making some hash browns right now. But there's this book that I've been reading called by Mark Manson called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it's a really good book, honestly. I'm currently filling it out. There is some. I'm currently filling it out. It's a little highlighter. And it's there's like a little like note section that you can take notes on. And I took some mainly for this video and also just to remind myself. But basically, it talks about suffering. Like all life is a form of suffering. It just really matters what problems that you choose. Like no matter what you do, like even doing nothing is a choice at the end of the day. So it's like, imagine you're anxious like me, right? You're really anxious and you want to talk to somebody, but you choose not to. You're living with that anxiety, you're suffering from that, from not taking that decision, but that gives you other problems of why did you not do that? That's another problem. But let's say if I did go up and do that, if I did do that, I'd get that kind of issues, I get those issues. Like it would be like, will they be a potential friend? And if not, I'm rejected. How do I deal with that? Or if they do become my friend, how do I deal with that? That's another problem. It's like life is just full of problems, and all Mark Manson is saying is, how do you deal with that? Where do you go when that happens? How do you deal with those problems? Because at the end of the day, happiness only comes from solving problems. Like that's the end of the day. That's where all of this is coming from me trying to better my social anxiety and stuff like that. That all of that comes from trying to find joy in other human relations and being able to get through these patches of mine. Like today, I made a little bit of progress. I'd say is I'm starting to sit with new people. At least I'm starting like one class at a time, right? I did it my humanities class, and there's this one girl who usually doesn't talk, but I've heard that she's like an actor and stuff, so it's like pretty cool. I haven't talked to her yet, so I'm just sitting over there now. So that that's progress, I'd say. I did have to talk myself up to do it, but I did do it. So now that's another issue that I have to deal with. Which, I'm not saying that in the bad sense, but I'm saying I'm just making progress day by day. And now he does bring up in the book that, like, you shouldn't treat all the small shit like big shit. Like, for example, it's more like self-esteem, actually. If you're, like, don't misconstrue achievements from... No, I'm trying to find a way to say this. I'm so sorry. It's like, God, I'd have to read through it again. I'm gonna put this on the back burner until I figure out what I'm gonna try and say. But honestly, today I was feeling very demotivated. Like, honestly, like very down in the dumps during lunch. I sat in the library again, and I was just completely down. I was like, what's the point? Is there even a purpose? Is like, why am I doing all of this? All this stuff. And when it really came down to it, when I started reading this book really got me out of it, It really showed me that you're letting yourself suffer. Because at the end of the day, suffering sucks. Like, it's terrible. There's the story of a prince, of this king who's like, I want my son to have the perfect life. So his son grows up completely caged in these extremely big walls so he can't see the outside world. So, he lives in his entire life until one day he asks his servant to, hey, what if I went out of the walls and I went to see the world and stuff? So the servant does that. They're going out, they're walking around, and the prince realizes that there's a whole lot of suffering in the world, and it fucking sucks. And so he gets really mad at his dad because he's like, why didn't you show me any of this? Now I'm not prepared for the world, blah, blah, blah. So what he does is, the next day, he leaves all of his shit behind, and he goes out, go to a completely other place where no one knows him, and he just suffers, right? He's poor, in poverty. He's living on the street, probably eating one nut a day. That's what it says in the book. He eats one peanut a day. And you know what? He got nothing out of it. Like, he was looking for some kind of wisdom, some kind of hope, and he did not find any of it. All he found was suffering. So in the end, suffering is only a byproduct. It's not the goal. Because that doesn't give you a lot of wisdom. What did he learn sitting on the streets doing nothing, But I guess what I'm really trying to say here is suffering has no point if there's no purpose to it. I'm suffering because I'm trying to improve myself. I know a friend who is struggling right now really badly. And what really got to me was that suffering does not have a point, you know? You're suffering because of your problems, but you're not doing anything about it, so those problems just get worse. And that's really what I'm kind of going through, but really there's a lot you can do. Just I'm sorry if this whole video in general has just been a whole lot of rambling. That's all these videos are anyway. But it's just a whole lot of speaking to the camera, trying to get words out and trying to express what I've learned. And here, let me look at the other little note I took. Is that the self-help books feel good in the short term but don't solve problems. I don't know why I read it like that, but I did. And basically, that's just another form of escapism, is reading a lot of, like, that's what I did over the summer. I wrote like 100-page document, and it was crazy because I'd spent so much time on it, like, I can do this, and in the end, I didn't even do anything. Like, honestly, all I did was write words on a screen. And I never go out, not a singular time. I didn't incorporate any of that. So really, it didn't help me. What I really wanted was to change myself. Not in a healthy way like this, but literally physically change myself and be a different person. I mean, like, I wrote this down. Those who ignore their problems inevitably lose themselves in them. Like, that's what it was like for me for a long time. This was my whole goal in life, was to be this better, more social person, when really, in the end, all it has to be is trying to talk to more people. You know, it's not like my counselor. Fuck, I'm speaking like Adam Sandler. Sorry. It's like my counselor says, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. So, you know, don't overgrandize things and feel like you're a big deal. Not that self-esteem is a bad part of it, but don't sweat the small stuff is a book that I read a little bit. So that's it. That was my rambling for 7 minutes. Thanks for stopping by. I'm gonna go eat my hash browns. So yeah, bye.